Okay, so to continue on a little bit with realizing the profound view, this, like I said before, gorgeous picture of Nagarjuna, being the embodiment of not just wisdom, but also the gentleness of compassion and the way he's looking. You can imagine a bunch of students out in front of him who are all going, what in the world is this guy talking about? And he's just looking with patience and compassion and saying the same thing again and again and again over years, knowing that sometime they'll get it, sometime the causes and conditions will come together and in understanding will grow. But in the meantime, he's just very patient, sitting there on his cushion in the middle of the meadow. Yeah, which is how he's depicted here. Okay, so what I'd like to read today to you is from the chapter called Ultimate Analysis and Conventional Existence. And it's the section called Refining Our Understanding of the Object of Negation. Okay, so, understanding and identifying the object of negation, they say, is the most difficult part of the whole meditation on emptiness. Yeah, because we're trying to figure out what does not exist that we are negating to prove to ourselves that it doesn't exist. Okay, now it sounds crazy, but to prove to ourselves, going back to the boogeyman example, if we're going to prove to ourselves that there's no boogeyman, you have to have an idea of what a boogeyman would look like. Yeah, otherwise, if you just say there's no boogeyman, it doesn't give anybody any real information. Okay, the boogeyman doesn't exist. Yeah, but if you say to a kid that believes in the boogeyman but doesn't know what a boogeyman looks like, the boogeyman doesn't exist, the kid is still terrified. Yeah, so the same with us. We hear, oh, there's no inherent existence, but, well, yeah, that sounds good. But what in the world does that mean? What is this inherent existence that we're negating? Okay? So we don't know what it is, and even when we hear the description of it, it's so difficult to identify because this inherently existent person, which never has existed, never will exist, is something that we really believe in very sincerely and deeply from the bottom of our non-existent stomach. Yeah, we really think there's this kind of person. And so when someone starts, describing how we think of ourselves, I think that's rather strange. Inherent existence must mean something else. Yeah, because what I believe I am is who I am. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, somebody said the other week, I know myself better than anybody else does. Yeah, we all think that. I know ourselves. I know who I am. I know what I am. Yeah. And here's somebody saying, check up. And we're going, yeah, I have. I'm here. I exist. Don't mess with me. Okay, so here's what His Holiness says. As we learn and practice meditation on emptiness, we refine our understanding of the object of negation in several ways. In meditation, we examine if the I exists in the way it appears to self-grasping ignorance. In other words, does the I exist inherently? Our search is not to see if the I exists. Okay. Our search is not to see if the I exists, but to determine if it exists inherently. Okay, so just by that, we should understand that there's a difference between existence and inherent existence. Yeah, the I exists, but it doesn't exist inherently. Okay. In other words, we are not searching for the mere I that does exist. If we were, we would be incorrectly applying ultimate analysis to the conventional I. Yeah, and this is what people who fall to the extreme of nihilism do. Yeah, and then they come out with the conclusion, well, there's no I at all. I don't exist. Yeah, which is a little bit, how do you live your life saying, I don't exist at all? Yeah. Doing that, okay, so applying ultimate existence to the conventional I runs the risk of falling to nihilism because we can't find the I as either one with or separate from the aggregates and would erroneously conclude that the I doesn't exist at all. However, when analysis is done correctly, we understand that the I does not exist inherently, but it does exist dependently. Okay. Our problem is we don't see the difference between dependent and independent existence. And this is the problem of the lower schools too. They think, oh yes, things exist dependently, therefore they must exist inherently. Yeah, because if they exist inherently. If things don't have some kind of essence that is them, then how can they exist? And this is our, quite innate feeling, isn't it? Understanding the I as it actually is on both the ultimate level, which is it's empty, and the conventional level, it is dependent, we are more encouraged to do the practices to create the causes for Buddhahood. So it's only if we can see that on the conventional level things exist, but on the ultimate level they are empty of inherent existence, it's only then that we can actually create the actual causes that lead to awakening. Before that, we're kind of doing a facsimile. Reasonable facsimile? Maybe. Okay, maybe not. Okay, so we have to have that kind of understanding to do the practices to fulfill the collection of merit. If we go to nihilism and we say nothing exists, well, then there's no collection of merit, there's no virtuous actions, there's no law of karma, so just enjoy yourselves. And this is the philosophy of a lot of people. Yeah. Unfortunately, it was my philosophy for a number of years in there, okay, after getting quite disillusioned with religion. Identifying the object of negation involves contemplating what inherent existence would be if it existed. If there were a boogeyman, what would the boogeyman look like? That's hard. I mean, everybody could draw their own boogeyman, couldn't they? So we could all draw our own object to be negated, but here that's not the thing. There's, one object here. Well, one at the deepest level, object of negation. Through this, we gain a conceptual appearance of what the I or the body, for example, would be like if it existed inherently. Here we are called to differentiate the appearance of inherent existence from inherent existence itself. Okay, now that is hard. Yeah, the appearance of inherent existence to our mental consciousness, to our senses, and inherent existence itself. Why do we have to differentiate them? Because inherent existence itself does not exist, but the appearance of inherent existence does exist. Okay, the boogeyman does not exist, but when we draw a picture of the boogeyman, the picture of the boogeyman exists. Okay, so you have to differentiate those two. You're not negating the picture of the boogeyman, the appearance of inherent existence, because that's something that exists. It's what the appearance is of that does not exist. Inherent existence. The appearance of inherent existence exists and is known by reliable cognizers. Woo! Does that shake you? Wait a minute, I'm negating inherent existence, but its appearance exists and can be established by reliable cognizers? Okay, so you have to it's just because something appears doesn't mean it exists. The appearance exists. Yeah, like nowadays, people have, and I mean for a long time past, but now, one of the latest things in the news is UFOs, okay? So there's many appearances of UFOs. People are, calling them in. But, so the appearance of UFOs is there. Are there actually UFOs? Well, one of them wound up to be a Chinese balloon, okay? And a few others they shot down, but they don't really know what they are. And they sunk in the ocean, and they probably never will know what they are. Okay, so the appearance of those things existed. What they actually were, who knows? Okay, for example, if we imagine flowers in the sky, the conceptual appearance of flowers in the sky exists, whereas those flowers do not. Okay, if I say, imagine flowers in the sky, you can do that with your eyes open, right? Are they daisies, roses? What are they? You can imagine, yeah? Flowers in the sky, yeah? Your conceptual appearance of the flowers in the sky exists. But if you look out there, you can't find them. Yeah, there's no flowers in the sky. Okay, if the difference between these two is not clear, we might conflate the appearance of inherent existence with inherent existence and negate the former, which is an existent object. But existence are not the object of negation. By negating existence, we negate too much and fall to the extreme of nihilism. Okay. What makes this challenging is that before finding the correct middle way view, we are unable to distinguish the mere I and the inherently existent I with a reliable cognizer. Now, wait a minute. Okay, you're telling me to do this meditation, I have to be able to distinguish, Yeah, the appearance of inherent existence from inherent existence. I have to be able to distinguish the mere I that does exist from an inherently existent I. And I have to be able to do that with a valid cognizer. Okay, but I haven't negated inherent existence yet, so how do I know what the actual mere I is when, since beginningless time, I've apprehended it as inherently existent? So you were kind of like being asked to do the impossible. This is one of the little tricky, well, a big tricky niche in the whole thing, yeah. We do it first, okay, distinguish the mere I and the inherently existent I. We do it first with a mind of correct assumption by relying on a term generality. Okay, a term generality, this is low rig, folks. Yeah. A term generality appears to the mind when someone describes something we have never seen, in this case, inherent existence, and an image of that appears to our mind. Yeah, so we create an image of what inherent existence would look like if it existed. But it's funny, how do we create a reliable image of something that doesn't exist? Mm-hmm. Although it is difficult to distinguish between inherent existence and the appearance of inherent existence, doing so is important. First, it ensures we negate the actual object of negation and not an existent phenomenon when we meditate on emptiness. That's a big thing. Second, it enables us to better understand what Buddhists perceive, in that inherent existence does not appear to Buddhist minds from their own side, okay, because Buddhists have abandoned cognitive obscurations. But Buddhists do perceive the appearance of inherent existence that appears to sentient beings' minds, because that appearance is inexistent, and all existence are known by Buddha's omniscient minds. Okay. How does emptiness appear to a mind that ascertains it? Good question. Yeah, is it just blankness? You know, they say it's like empty space. So what is empty space? What do you see when you see empty space? And well, if you don't have your glasses on it, thank you. Actually, seeing empty space you can't do with glasses or without glasses, can you? Your glasses don't help you. Okay. You know, you look out and you say, okay, empty space. What does empty space look like? I look out and there's some whiteness in the sky over there because, you know, there's clouds back there. So am I seeing empty space? No, I'm seeing some kind of amorphous clouds blended together that looks just like a white sheet. So what does the empty space look like? Is that what exists between me and that? But what does that look like? You can't see it. Okay, how does emptiness appear to a mind that ascertains it? If our understanding of emptiness is incorrect and we equate emptiness with a vacuity that is nothingness, we have not ascertained emptiness. In other words, emptiness is not just the lack of anything existing in that space. Okay. It could also happen that with analysis, we generate a correct understanding of emptiness, but lose it later in the meditation session so that we begin to meditate on nothingness. Yeah. How do you distinguish those? Nothingness and whatever our idea of emptiness is. Emptiness of what? Because the emptiness of tangibility and obstruction, that's space, but the emptiness of inherent existence isn't the same thing. But how do they look different? Well, to our eyes, we shouldn't even try and see them with our eyes. Yeah. So what what does emptiness look like with our mental consciousness? What in the world? How do you identify what your mental consciousness? Yeah. So we have a conceptual appearance to it. What is my conceptual appearance of emptiness, and what is my conceptual appearance of nothingness? And how do they differ? Okay. So we could begin to meditate on nothingness because we can't distinguish it from emptiness, even though we might have had a correct idea of emptiness. So this could happen because of a lack of concentration, or because our initial understanding was a correct assumption, not ascertainment of emptiness. In another situation, we may ascertain the meaning of emptiness, but think this is emptiness. Here, when we think this is emptiness, we are not apprehending emptiness, but instead know the existence of emptiness, which is a conventionality. Emptiness is an ultimate truth, but it exists conventionally. Okay, so seeing emptiness as a conventionality, because we're seeing the existence of emptiness, not emptiness, is not an ascertainment of emptiness. If we ascertained emptiness, only the mere negation, that is, the emptiness of true existence, appears to the direct, reliable cognizer perceiving it. In the case of an inferential, reliable cognizer, a conceptual appearance of emptiness appears to the mind. This is according to the sutra system. In the context of deity yoga in Tantra, the deity, which is the basis of emptiness, appears to the inferential realization of emptiness. There's a big debate about whether the basis of emptiness appears to an inferential cognizer of emptiness. Big debate. So-and-so says this, one side says yes, and one side says no. Okay, so that's that section there. So if that makes you more confused, good. It just means we have a lot to try and think about, yeah, and to try and discern the difference of different things. Yeah. And the problem with doing all of this is that our physical senses don't see things as they are. We think they do, yeah, but inherent existence appears to our senses, our eyes and ears and so on. Okay. Those senses don't grasp at inherent existence, but inherent existence appears, and we have nothing to contradict that. And so just kind of assume, yeah, that's the way it is. There's real things out here. A few days ago, I posed the question, what is a person? Yeah. So we see, oh yes, there's lots of persons in here, lots of people. I see all of them. What do you mean you see a person? What in the world is a person? That which is merely designated in dependence on the 4 or 5 aggregates. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing when I see a person? That which is dependent on being merely designated. Huh? No, I'm not seeing that which is dependent on being designated on aggregates. I'm seeing Sam. I'm seeing Harriet. There they are. Yeah? Isn't that how you think? Yeah. And it's very interesting because when we look at the aggregates, yeah, and here the expression "I love you" is very, very useful, okay? It doesn't have to mean romantic love, because that's mere attachment, but strong feelings of affection for somebody. When you say, "I love you," what? You love the person, okay? Do you love their body? That's some stinky, smelly thing, isn't it? Yeah, you don't say, like, yeah, "I love your kneecap." Yeah, "I loved your wisdom tooth. It's a shame they pulled it out." Give it to me so I can put it on my altar. I'll feel affection every time I look at your wisdom tooth. Cuckoo. Okay. So what is it? You say, "I love you. I love their mind." But I argue with them a lot too. Sometimes what they think is ridiculous. Isn't it? People you love can think ridiculous things. So, I'm not in love with their ridiculous thoughts. What am I? What is this person that I have such strong feelings for? What is a person? Yeah. You take a mind and you take a body and you stick them together, but you're not so in love with the body, and you're not so in love with the mind. So what is it we do when those two things are put together in what is called life that makes them so affectionable, worthy of our love and affection? What? It's just a body and mind put together and some designation put on top of it. Yeah? So what is it? Yeah, on the rota, you're supposed to wash the dishes. Yeah. So who is the person that is supposed to wash the dishes? Is it just their body? Yeah, you want their body there? Doesn't have to have a mind. Yeah. It can be just a body as long as it's there washing the dishes. Is that who's going to wash the dishes? Yeah, just some material body. The mind can't wash the dishes. Can the body without the mind wash the dishes? If a body without the mind can't wash the dishes, and the mind itself can't wash the dishes, then who's this person who you want to wash the dishes? It's a mere designation. Huh? It's just a name. You mean if I don't put a name on it? If they put my name on the dish rota and erase my name, then there's nobody there to wash the dishes. Right? There's no body, there's no mind, so there's no me. Even you put the name there, doesn't mean much. Okay. So instead of thinking how irritated you are by somebody, leaving their stuff all over the place, think about these things. Yeah. Whose stuff is this? Who does it belong to? Before realizing it's your own stuff that you left all over the place. Okay. So now we are going to offer our lunch. I don't know who we is. Do you know who we is? Yeah? Who is we? But anyway, we'll offer lunch, because lunch is real. We may not be, but lunch, oh.